Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Early voting for the May 5th municipal elections. It has begun. You can get out and vote. If you do not know a lot about the candidates, well, you may want to take a little bit of time before you get out and vote. In studio with me right now, candidate for Lubbock ISD School Board, Art Martin. Art, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you on the program. Tell folks a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run for LISD School Board.
Well, I would like to serve in some capacity to the community that I live in, and I'd like to do it in a capacity that I know something about. And I have, quite a bit of experience with school districts. I served as the Chief Financial Officer of Midland ISD, Lubbock ISD, El Paso ISD, and I'm currently involved with some other districts, Slayton, Plainview, Manor, if you know where Manor's at, just outside of Austin. So, again, I would like to serve and do it in a capacity I know something about in an area that I think is important, extremely important to our community.
What can that experience bring to this position on the school board?
I think what I have to offer is, we all want what's best for our kids. There's no question about that, but we also want a quality educational opportunity for our children. And the question is how to do that. There's always a limited amount of money that's going to be available at any point in time. School districts are primarily funded based on the number of students that they have. And so as the number of students go down, well then, money goes down. As students go up, money goes up. But I think the challenge for the school district is to use the money that it has available to it to provide the best educational opportunity for students.
When you look at different schools and Lubbock ISD or any of the other districts that you look at, obviously you look at a lot of money that is talked about, here statewide, nationally as well. Funding in education. Kids aren't doing as well. Maybe we need to have more funding in education. What do you think? Do you think we have enough funding, or do you think there needs to be more funding for education?
Well, I think generally, if you're talking to me, I think the formulas need to be looked at the state level very, very closely. We are one of the lowest on a per student basis. We are one of the lowest funded states in the country. So I think there's only 6 or 7 states in the country that provides less funding on a per student basis than Texas. So I think that's part of it, but I think we also, the funding is what it is, and the school district itself has very little control over that. That's a state issue, but I think the challenge for the school district, whether it's Lubbock ISD or Cooper or Friendship or whatever, is to use the money that it has efficiently and as effectively as it can to provide the best educational opportunity we can.
Well, and how can, being a member of the school board, how can you make sure that happens, that the money is used wisely?
I think you have to, in order to be responsible to taxpayers, and we are, we need to look at every aspect of the budget and see how we can be more efficient in what we do. There's lots of different things that are going on in the school district. The school district employs either directly or indirectly through a series of contracts over 4,000 people. It's a $300 million budget, and so it's big business. It's not small business. We transport more kids every day than any other single entity in the county. We feed more people and through our food service operation than any other single organization in the county. We have more square footage under roof that has to be managed than any other single entity in the county. And so it is big business. So there's lots of other activities that have to take place in order for school to take place. And I think the challenge is to provide those services outside the classroom as effectively and efficiently as possible so that you can maximize the amount of money that's going to be flowing into the classroom directly, that directly affects student and learning, and at the same time be responsible for the money that we are given.
Visiting with Art Martin, candidate for LISD School Board at large. You talked about earlier your qualifications as far as Chief Financial Officer, and you've obviously had a lot of work with not only Lubbock ISD but other school districts as well. What are some of your other qualifications that you bring to the table, maybe versus some of the other candidates in this race?
Well, I think just, I'm a lifelong West Texan. Born and raised in Odessa, graduated from Odessa High, joined the Navy and spent 4 years in the military. Came out and went to school. And then out of college, my first job was in Midland School District. And so all of my experience has been school district. My wife and I, Jeannie, we have 4 daughters. 2 of those are educators. So we have a vested interest in public education. And I get a lot of feedback when my wife and my daughters and I are sitting around the table. We get a lot of feedback about public education and what's best for kids. And so I think as a family, we have a lot of heritage, if that's the right word, in public education. And it's extremely important to not just the kids that are going to school to get a good education, but the community at large and the future of our city and our state.
I want to ask you about something that recently happened this past Friday over at Lubbock High School. And you've seen this now throughout the last part of this year. Who knows, it may continue into next year. Students who walk out during school hours, protesting, whatever it may be. Right now it's guns. Should the schools and the school district, should there be a punishment for these students who walk out during school hours?
I think we have to allow freedom of expression to an extent. At what point does it become disruptive to the operation of the campus? And I think that's really what we're probably thinking about, talking about. And there is a discipline code in the education code called Chapter 37. And I think the administrators and both at the central level and at the campus have to apply Chapter 37 and the provisions provided in that to deal appropriately with those students. And not all cases, each case is going to be different. So I think you have to deal with those individuals on an individual basis and do what's right for kids, but at the same time do allow for some expression, freedom of expression to say what's on your mind. So
sure.
I think, to say today whether to say that you ought to kick them out, probably not. But there probably does need to be some consequence for bad behavior.
Right. Visiting with Art Martin, you can visit his website, artmartincpa.com, right? artmartincpa.com is your website where they can find out a lot more about yourself. Take the next minute or so, give that final pitch to voters as maybe they're getting ready right now to get out and vote. Maybe they're heading to a polling place. Give the final pitch to voters why they should vote for you in this race.
Well, I'm really running on qualifications. My past experience as a chief financial officer and also, my education background. I've got a BBA in accounting and I got an MBA in management. I'm a CPA with extensive experience in school districts. And we do have a responsibility to taxpayers, no question about it. At the same time, we want to provide the best opportunity to our students. I'm also endorsed by the Lubbock Education Association, and we'll see how the voting goes, and hopefully it works out.
All right. You can visit Art Martin's website, artmartincpa.com. Art, thanks for appearing on the show, and good luck in this race.
Thank you very much.